Caviar. Chris, not rock. Lantern. Who's gaming?
What's up, folks? Hit Points Gaming here with our 7th podcast. Corey is out sick today, so it's gonna be me and Chris. Chris, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing yourself?
I am doing just fine. And today we're going to be talking about streaming and kind of its impact on the average gaming community. You know, maybe some likes, dislikes, why we think it got so big. But first, as always, we're going to start by talking about what we've been into. And for me, it has been Echo Arena on the Oculus Rift. And to explain a little bit about it, it's kind of like Rocket League in soccer, but you use a disc, like Discs of Tron. And you're trying to get the disc in the other person's goal, but the entire game is 0G. So the way you kind of move around the arena, which is just like a giant tube with a bunch of obstacles, is you have to grab things and throw yourself off, and then you can use wrist thrusters to kind of like move a little bit to kind of angle yourself towards things. And it is the most fun game ever. I've already knocked everything off one of my shelves.
Oh, so you're actually like your hands are like almost like swimming. Like I see they watch the video. It's like you're reaching out, grabbing something, and pulling it back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
those wrist things that has no like. You're not really propelling yourself with the wrist things. Those are just to kind of push you a little bit.
Yeah, you can move a tiny bit with those, and then there's like a boost where you like boom, but that's usually after you get going.
Okay.
And then you can also grab onto people and throw yourself off them, kind of like, what do you call it in racing? The draft, right? Is it like the...
Yeah.
I think it's called something like
drifting. Or drafting.
No, drafting. So, say, for instance, you know, there's an opponent who's going after the disc, right?
Okay.
If you grab him and throw yourself off of him, then now you shoot ahead in front. So
but do you pull him back? Do
No.
you have any physics with him? Oh, okay.
Mm-mm. So you go like way faster, though, and that's like a major advantage. You can grab people and punch them, and if you guard a punch, they get stunned instead of you. So there's like actual defense there.
Okay.
It is just like a phenomenal game to play. It's the only game that I play with. There's a grid that you can put in VR so that you know where your boundaries are. It's the only game that I play with the grid because I went to go reach for the disc, and as I went to go reach, I swore I was okay, and just boom. I knocked all this stuff off my shelf. Pictures, there's games, there's Skylanders up there. Just knocked it all off. And everybody in the game was just like, what was that? I was like, that was everything on my shelf. Hitting the ground. So that's what I've really been up to, is just that. And there's a single player too, which has been kind of slow compared to stuff that I like.
Okay.
It's called Lone Echo. It's cool. Oh, it's easily like the best looking game too. It's like super smooth looking. My computer can barely handle it. Like when I first started playing it, it chugged so hard. I guess my computer got used to it, so it's running a little better. But that's been good. And then I bought a VR game that I'm afraid to play called Left Hand Path. I didn't know it was a horror game. The description said it was inspired by Dark Souls. So I'm like, okay, cool, right? Like whatever, demon enemies. But you start playing and you're just in a pitch black room, and then you cast a spell by doing a Z. And it illuminates the area, and it's not really, like, horrific. You're just in a storeroom with some barrels, but the light coming from your staff only gives you about 10 feet. And it's all real-time lighting. It looks great. The hand that you have actually looks really crappy, but as you move the light, the shadows move accordingly around all the stuff, and it's just the creepiest thing to be walking. And I'm a total scaredy cat in games. I have no problem admitting that. I don't play horror stuff alone. I tried it like 3 times, and I couldn't get like 30 feet from the beginning. And you're walking, and you can't see anything. You get to a doorway, and it's like, I don't want to go in there. It's like a castle kind of doorway arch. And I walk through the doorway, and I hear footsteps, and there's a dude right here. And that's the Dark Souls aspect, is they put enemies around corners so that they kind of sneak you. The game isn't jump scary. It's just like, it's very creepy. So I killed that guy. I was really proud of myself, and I walk outside, and somebody starts whispering in my ear. So I immediately headset off. I'm done. I quit. What have you been up to?
Not anything near as cool as that. I'm still playing Heroes of the Storm, which is, whatever. They have this Suns Out, Guns Out thing going on promotion. And other than that, I've been playing a lot of Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
Oh, PUBG.
PUBG is, oh my goodness.
I knew you guys were going to get into it. I knew it.
I really didn't want to, and a buddy of ours, Kev, picked it up for me and was like, I've been watching it and it looks really fun. Let's try it. And I really didn't think I'd be into it because I'm not really like I'm into shooters and third-person shooters, first-person, whatever, but just kind of wasn't my thing. And now I cannot wait to get home from work every day and get on and play with everyone. There's like the single-player experience, where you can just kind of what it is you're 100 people. It's almost like a Hunger Games.
Okay.
Or Battle Royale, like you have 100 people, you drop out of a plane onto a big map, and the map slowly has like this circle that is trying to force people to a central location. But that circle moves all the time, so it's really cool because you don't exactly know where it's going to be, and it's always moving, and then it stays somewhere, and then a smaller circle will spawn inside that circle. That's not always in the center of that circle. It could be in a corner, a side,
it's
whatever.
Not always. It doesn't.
It's not always the center, right?
Wow. Okay.
So it's really neat because it doesn't allow it. It's hard to set up, you know. So it forces people to move a lot, which is what kind of makes it fun.
That's
and
great.
we've been playing a lot of like four player team, and I think that's where it's so much fun. And even if you don't win, like winning is really hard. They say there's like a 1% chance of winning. And well, I guess there is a 1% chance because there's 100 people, and you, but like you have a 1% win ratio kind of deal, and like the better people are like up to 20%, but it still gets kind of difficult, but it's still fun. Like even if we lose, and when we lose, it's still fun. Of oh man, it was such a good run, and
right.
You're searching buildings to find weapons and items, and it's in early access, but the game feels so good. There's so many good things inside of it.
Okay.
Like when you turn a corner, there's a red reticle will come up to show you that, hey, your gun will not shoot where you think it's going to. You're going to hit this wall.
Okay. And you know what's funny is? They got that from SOCOM back in the day.
And it works.
Yeah, SOCOM was third person, and if you were like trying to shoot over cover or whatever,
right.
There would be a thing. Be like, no, you're not going to make it. So I think that's interesting that's there.
They don't even have that. Like, last Battlefield game I played didn't have that. You end up shooting a wall, and you're wondering why.
Yeah.
This something so small, but it's just so good, and it's just really well done.
Interesting.
It's a game I did not think I was going to play, but I'm really enjoying it so much.
Corey actually told me last time I was at his place, like, yeah, we've been playing PUBG, and I was like, I knew you guys were going to get into it at some point. Like, it was guaranteed that you guys were going to play it, and it looks fun, and I was hoping it was going to be on the Steam sale, just like Dark Souls 1. Some reason it's not on the Steam sale, but I want to get it. It's just like, man, $30.
Well, Green Man Gaming's been having some sales for like $20. I think it's $22 right now. It's not a great savings, but it is a savings.
That's a third.
Dude, there's over 5 million copies of this game sold. It's not even released yet.
Jeez.
It's still in like what is that, beta or whatever.
Yeah, but that team always does that, right? That team is always just putting stuff in.
It's so good.
Beta. Yeah.
Yeah, like why not? I mean, it helps the developers to make a better game because they have some money to make things better.
Mm-hmm.
The game will crash maybe not that often at all. It's so good. I really, the gameplay's fun. It's just and I don't want to say it's a good game, but it really is a very good game. There's a lot of things and concepts to it. It really has to have 5 million
for this to be this
people
popular. So even if it was to our I don't even know how to say this really, like our mature standard of a good game, right?
Right.
Even if that was crappy, but it was really fun, it's a good game.
Yes.
It's good. That's just kind of how it goes. And also like cross-genre reviews, like I would never say that Madden's a bad game because I don't like it.
Right.
You have to be able to judge things without having your own opinion, and it looks fun. It looks fun.
It is so much.
You'll probably have 3 more players because Matt just got a computer.
Okay.
Jake wants to get it real bad and is waiting for me. So once I get it, we'll have even more people to jump on and play with.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
It's cool because it's kind of sucks though. It's 4 players in a team, up to 4 players in a team.
Right.
You know, so like we could queue at the same time, and queues are so fast. Like I said, there's like 5 million people. You know, you're not waiting long at all. You're waiting for the game to pretty much load the lobby.
Okay.
That's the longest part. You know, and so like I don't know if we'd be able to play like 8. It would be sweet if we could get in the same lobby. Don't get me wrong, it'd be great. But
yeah, but even so, you know, to have an extra player in the pool for when some people aren't online.
Yes, it happens all the time.
Be huge.
Yes.
So, going into streaming, I know you said you watched a lot of PUBG, or Kev did anyway, and that's one game right now that is really, really popular.
Yeah.
And whether it's streaming or there's a ton of YouTube clips and people make montages. And I remember even recently I saw a guy on like a motorcycle come flying into the camera and hopped off his motorcycle and blew somebody away through the window.
Yes.
Right. So that's I find it really interesting that streaming over the past couple of years, it's been like 4 or 5 years, has gotten to be gigantic.
Billions of dollars.
Billions. And I don't know necessarily why. I mean, I guess the way that I would say it got huge is just because it became so accessible to do.
Okay.
In the beginning, for me personally, I streamed on Justin.tv, right?
Yep.
And I had a super poverty setup with my laptop, and I had to use all these programs to do all these things that I no longer need to do. Like now when I stream or record, I open up XSplit and I click a button.
Right.
And whatever I have in this window is online. Before I had to set all types of stuff up, and it was a painful process. And back then they really limited people's bandwidth as well. So I have all that stuff archived. Everything I've ever, mostly everything I've ever done back then is archived. And I go back and look at it, and it looks like, you know, an AOL video from 1995. But now with anyone, it being so optimized, even if your PC's not great, for you to be able to stream at 720p, like depending on your camera that you have. Like I have like a decent camera, you know what I mean? And it looks great. Anybody can do it. It looks great. How do you like? What do you feel made streaming like just come into the limelight?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't really know. If you look at, like you said, if you look at the history, it started with Justin TV, and it was more of like, you know, Big Brother. You know, people are watching people live or, you know, do whatever. Cool. And then it kind of went into, it kind of went into like gaming a little bit. And then Twitch was born from that, you know. And
I got automatically just moved to something called Twitch. I'm like, what did they do to me? I'm like, what did they do at the time? Which I thought was so weird.
I really don't know how or why it is where it is right now.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you think of, it's really cool to watch people play games, and that's something I would love to have on TV. I'll never watch it, but like personally, I'll never watch it. But I would love to see gaming at the level of, you know, I'm going to turn on NBC and, you know, there's some kind of tournament going on.
Yeah.
You know, that's just the future I would love to see because it's something I love.
We're moving there because Street Fighter was on ESPN. For even. And Disney XD had it too.
Oh, really?
Disney XD had Street Fighter and Smash. We're getting, over time, dude, video games will never be, like, it's very popular now, or chic.
Right.
It will never be, like, as cool as sports in a public limelight. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Have the argument all the time, and this goes right along with streaming. I was talking to a guy where he's like, I don't get it. My son just goes on the computer and watches someone else play games and he thinks it's hysterical. And I'm like, well, you've been watching other people play sports your entire life.
Right.
Isn't that the same thing? And he's like, no. And I'm like, wait, what do you mean? I was like, does your son play video games? He's like, yes. And I'm like, when's the last time you played a game of football? He's like, I don't know, college, and I'm like, exactly. So your son's watching someone else do something that he loves and can get behind because he
every day he's doing it.
Every day